24 hours is all I'm gonna need to secretly transform the Xbox from this to something like this. And if I can't do it in time, then I'm gonna eat everything you see inside of this old jar of pickles. And the clock starts. This thing is a $600 premium gaming machine, but it's what's inside that I have a problem with. Specifically, the dashboard. It's kind of boring. It doesn't really emphasize your games, it feels a bit cluttered, it has a bunch of stuff I don't really care about, and most importantly, it doesn't feel like a $600 premium machine. It just kind of feels basic, just kind of there. But to fix it, I'm gonna need help from someone very important, someone who can be an avatar for the people. That's right, I brought back Kevin from our Halo Infinite UI video so we can find out exactly what the people want for Xbox. Do what you do best, Kevin. You see, Kevin's an open book. He's beautiful and all he wants is for Xbox to support 3 basic things. Number 1, play games. Number 2, be customizable. And number 3, just be simple. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. But the thing is, the world's changed. Kevin's got big boy money now, which means that he doesn't just play on one platform, he plays on many. We're talking the Switch, the PlayStation 5, his potato PC, and most importantly, the thing he uses every single day, his phone. So before we do any work, we gotta bust out these devices and see what we can learn from their user interfaces. We gotta do research. Sorry, it's dramatic. Let's start with the PlayStation 5. When we boot this puppy up, we can immediately see an emphasis on the games. But the main difference from the Xbox is that the PlayStation 5 has this initial simplicity or elegance. It just looks beautiful. I want to be here. I just want to sleep. It just looks, I could sleep here. It looks cleaner because it's got those small little icons, it's got less navigation, and it uses the background to great effect. I mean, at the end of the day, we're watching these on 4K TVs. We want this to look on the 4K, you know what I mean? It also supports HDR, Microsoft. I'll say it again, it feels elegant. But when we start navigating the thing, it kind of falls apart. Maybe it's just me, but their new guide is completely confusing. The horizontal scrolling is just not helpful at all. And there's like 0 customization, which is just kind of weird. It's 2022. So, you know, let me customize. But what about the Switch? Nintendo's approach to a console user interface focuses on games and simplicity more so than any that I've ever seen, which kind of makes sense given that's all that the Switch really does, it just plays games, which in a sense is kind of refreshing. It's got a small edge or caveat in that the default amount of space that you get with the system doesn't allow for that many games, so navigation has never been really that difficult, at least in my experience. But overall, you guessed it, it's another horizontal scroll bar, and it's about as simple as you can get without any customization. But if customization is your jam, there's no greater jam than the personal computer, aka PC. You can set up the desktop the way that you want it. You can personalize your beautiful potato to be either super elegant or super functional. But the PC has one more huge advantage. Shocker, all navigation is done using a keyboard and mouse, which means you get to do whatever you want to do as fast as you can see it and click it. Meanwhile, the Xbox is only as fast as the controller lets you be. But what about Kevin's last device, his phone? That's right, this thing. Of course it depends on which phone that he uses, but at the end of the day, simplicity is kind of baked into the touchscreen. Navigation is built on a grid system, which gives the user great spatial awareness to know where to go and what to do. It's customizable, which allows Kevin to put his apps and games anywhere that he wants to put them and set up a vibe that's a representation of him without losing any usability. I got you now, Kevin, and what was that, like only 10-15 minutes or so? Easy. Understanding what Kevin wants is only half the story. We gotta be realistic, so as much as I'd love to redesign the Xbox for my boy Kevin, Big Daddy Microsoft wants to be heard as well. And for that, there's no better Big Daddy to contact than the Xbox boss himself, Philium Spencer. Phil may have broken my heart, but he still needs to be heard just like Kevin. Quite honestly, I don't think it's going to be that hard, but because they're a big corporation, I'm going to list their needs in a way that I think they'd like most. You see, at the end of the day, Microsoft wants to increase customer engagement, increase spending, and onboard Game Pass. That's right, let's throw some graphs on there, some percentages, more percentages, all right, a couple more graphs. Let's throw the green on there. People like green. It makes people buy things. Now, you might be wondering to yourself,
well, Mr. Goose, what makes you think that Microsoft only wants these 3 things? How can you be so sure? And how can I trust your word, given the fact that Tim Hortons outranks you in subscribers still, despite the fact that you're Canada's creator protege and more Canadian than Timothy J. Horton?
Well, first I would say that was an extremely specific question, and relating to the Microsoft thing, I could totally prove it to you. Give me like 5 goose seconds.
5 goose seconds later.
Okay, so I went down to the garage to grab every single Xbox that I own, so I can prove to you I know exactly what Microsoft wants. So let me show you. Over the years, Microsoft has actually changed their dashboard quite a few times, starting with a very simple and gamer-themed dashboard with this guy, the original Xbox. Then in 2005, this fellow joined us and graced us with the Xbox 360 Blades navigation. Simple, games were front and center, not that much customization, and the store was kind of slow. But overall, a fan favorite nonetheless. It is insanely hot in here. I am sweating a lot more than it looks. Later, the Xbox would get another upgrade to what they called the NXE, or the new Xbox Experience. I know, super catchy name. It was very confusing, slow, and focused on Xbox's new avatar system, which was essentially a copy of Nintendo's Mii's. Now, this dashboard wasn't really beloved, so they walked this one back pretty fast. Microsoft's goal with this one? Bring back the simple navigation from the Blades, but synergize with the Windows 8 Metro blocky look. Simplified-ish, more customizable, and kinda slow, but then Microsoft was like,
hey, we got this new shiny console back here, so just forget about this one.
The Xbox One's dashboard releases with an emphasis on voice commands and big buttons so that you could touch it with Kinect. But they got a little bit crazy and forgot the main purpose of the thing, the games. But what about the latest Xbox?
The Xbox Series X.
By this time, management had changed and Microsoft had pivoted to a service-based ecosystem and had condensed the dashboard down to something fast, simple, and customizable. So it kind of seems like they hit those 3 goals we were talking about earlier, right? The dashboard is technically simple, we'll give them that, but the guide is insanely dense. But just look at all the things that it does. It's got all these things. There's a lot of things. It does support customization, but it consists of a background that's covered by a billion boxes, your favorite color, and these weird content boxes, which are just kind of like advertisements for games, Game Pass, or the store. It's a representation of Kevin's needs, that's for sure, but it's through the eyes of Microsoft's needs first, which is why I'm confident we can make it better. Let's do this. So I know I said I'd start, and believe me, I'm gonna start, but I've been talking to Kevin and Phil for hours at this point, so before I start redesigning the very popular Xbox dashboard that has been built by a $1 trillion company and its team of engineers over the course of years and years and years, in only 24 hours, I gotta do one last thing. We gotta get some snacks. Like these things. Cookie Monster. I love these things. Cucumber. What the heck? Wait, I'm here. I did eat some snacks along the way. I was pretty hungry. I'm still hungry. I will eat these, but for right now, it's montage time. I hath done the deed, and I definitely didn't delay production of this video by 4 weeks to grow this beard to show you guys the passage of time as a 5-second bit. Definitely not. Alright, here's the Xbox dashboard that Kevin and Phil have today, and here's the one they're gonna have tomorrow. Would you look at that? Our old pal Van found us. I knew this dashboard would be a success. Okay, that is it. Video games are obsessed with money, and it's about time that somebody fixes it. Video games used to be about experiencing great stories, playing with your best buds, getting a high score, but now it's all about microtransactions, season passes, money. It's always about money these days. So I'm gonna do the undoable, the impossible, but most importantly, I'm gonna do exactly what Kevin and Van Bagger would have wanted me to do. I'm gonna fix